Welcome back, Freshwater Fishing Novices new viewers. This week, well, today at least, in this video, I want to talk about trying to catch trout. This video might be helpful. I'm going to cover the rod type, the rod power, action, fishing line weight, where I target trout. Oh, we're going to talk about lures and then terminal tackle or hardware that you might need. This idea came up because of my protege, Crispy. Crispy said she's going to be going to Colorado, but she's never fished for trout before. So that's why I'm making this video. Also, for everyone else watching who might be interested in trout fishing. Let's get right into this subject. So first, the rod. You're not going to use like a bass rod like we have in this channel before. What you're going to use for a trout rod would be a ultralight or a light rod. Moderate action, because you want the rod to bend over and fight that fish. You're going to use smaller reel. It's probably going to be like a 1,000 size reel on an ultralight rod, anywhere from 5-6 feet. If you're fishing for shore, I would suggest a smaller rod. A little easier to deal with the trees, just easier to deal with in general. Spinning reel, 1,000 size, so you don't need a big reel. It doesn't have to be very expensive. Now let's go on to the line. The line you're going to want to use, if you're looking for more stretch, I would say use monofilament. If you're looking for a little bit more strength but still the invisibility, I would go with fluorocarbon. Now, the weight of your monofilament or fluorocarbon, 2 pounds, is really light. 6 pounds is heavy, so I would go right in the middle. It's 4-pound monofilament or fluorocarbon is the call. Ultralight rod, 1,000 size reel. That covers rod, reel, and line. Let's talk about the lure. The lure I'm gonna suggest to Crispy to use. This is the first lure that was suggested to me when I was going fishing. The lure I'm talking about is an inline spinner, roostertail right here, and I like it in the silver blade and the white body with the white feather. As a freshwater fishing novice, you can see it coming through the water, so you can see that flash of the silver and you can see the white coming. And when it disappears, you can just reel down a little harder, and the fish already has it in its mouth. It's going to set those treble hooks. Make sure you bring hemostats with you, because the hooks are much smaller. You're not going to be able to really get it out with your fingers. You're going to need those hemostats. It's probably a good idea to bring a net it's like that rubberized net, so it doesn't hurt or impact the trout that you're catching any more than you have to. They have a slime coat. You don't want to get that off of their body too much. You want to keep them out of the water very little. Quick picture, right back in the water. You want to get your hand wet before you touch the fish so you don't hurt the fish anymore than's necessary. I know a lot of people say when they stock trout, they drop them out of a plane. So these fish are falling from however high into the water. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be careful with the fish. I'm just saying they're probably tougher than we think. We still should be nice to these animals that we just want to see real close up, take a picture with. Wow, these are beautiful. We don't want to hurt them any more than we have to. Unless you're going to keep them and eat them, and then you're probably going to hurt them. So we got our inline spinner. Now there's a problem. That lure spins. You might be saying, I don't know what the problem is. It spins. Attached to your line. It's going to twist your line if you do not attach this, not terminal tackle, but it's hardware. I couldn't figure out my line twist forever. I was like, why the heck is this thing getting all funky on me and making line twists and the line's doing all weird stuff? I thought it was me. It was me, because I wasn't using a snap swivel. So what this is just what it sounds like. You snap your lure on, there's a swivel in the middle, and then you tie your main line or your fishing line that goes to your rod onto that snap swivel. What the point of that is, the barrel swivel is spinning, your line is staying straight, the lure is spinning. So now it's doing what it needs to be doing. Keep in mind that snap swivel is going to add more weight to your lure. You might be saying, what weight should I use? Look that up real quick and it's going to pop up right here. The actual weights of the lures. So those are the weights that you're going to want to focus on. Keep in mind they're treble lures. You do not want to cast these where there's grass. Where are we going to cast? When I go trout fishing, I like to go to small creeks, brooks, very small bodies of water. You want flow from water, trout like freshwater and oxygen. What would be considered small rapids, like, they're smaller rocks and water's coming over it. What happens when water comes down a body of water, a creek, a stream, a river? If there's a rock there, the water has to go around it. The water's coming down, there's a rock here. Just like aerodynamics and this is hydrodynamics. Not that I know a ton about hydrodynamics and all, I just know that when there's a solid surface that's immovable and water or air hits it and it has to go around it, behind the said object, in this case a boulder or a rock, there is slack water. So there's all this pressure and all this water moving. And then right here, it's very still water, where this fish can kind of relax, still swim, get plenty of oxygen, and as bugs and stuff come by, get them, go get them, pop out and get them. They're ambushing. That's what they're doing. They'll still be under trees, so look for shade on the bank, like the opposite bank, or even upstream on the same side you are. Target shade, target trees hanging over, try to get it underneath there or close by. Basically what you're going to do is, if there's shade in the shade line, say this is the shade right here on this side, you're going to cast your lure kind of parallel to that and try to get a fish to come out and hit it. You don't have to cast directly into the shadow, although you can. Same thing if there's a dock or something, or a tree branch or anything like that, you're going to cast parallel to it. So you're going to try to lure a fish that's hiding underneath that cover out and hit your lure. If this is the river, right, straight up and down, and you're standing over here, this is what I've heard, and it seems to work. What you do is you cast at about a 45-degree angle. Yeah, so you cast across the creek as far as you can, and then you're going to retrieve your lure like this way. So what that's doing is it's coming through all that commotion of the bubbles. If there's a rock right here, you can cast up behind it, or you can cast above it, and you want to try to trigger that fish that's hiding behind the rock. Under bridges is a great spot. If you can pull over and you're fishing and there's a bridge right there and it's covered and it's dark under there, cast up underneath that bridge. Now, how do I throw it? They said you throw it out, you start reeling, wait for the blade on it to start spinning, and as slow as you can, retrieve that back. So you're constantly reeling, you're not stopping. So it's a good search bait. Oh, the other thing you could bring, now if you don't want to throw an inline spinner, you get a small bobber or a float, whatever you want to call it. You're going to put that up the line, probably like a foot and a half roughly. At the bottom, you have a size 10 octopus hook, very small circle hook, or an octopus hook. You're going to say, that's what the hell's that good for? Catching trout. On the hook, you're going to wacky rig a small, is that a 2-inch, maybe an 1.5 inch white trout worm. Bass Pro Shop sells these for like $1.99 for a pack of like 20. I bought like 10 of these like years ago. These are awesome. You'll lose a lot of them, so it's worth it to get, a pack or two. But you wacky rig that, throw it onto the bobber, and that worm is just going to be jiggling under the water, under the currents. So if you're ultralight fishing with kids, that bobber, that size 10 hook, 4-pound line, and you don't have to use real worms. You can use a white worm like that on a size 10 hook. That bobber goes down, just start reeling. You don't even have to set the hook. Freshwater fishing novices, new viewers, Crispy. I hope you found this video entertaining, helpful. Hopefully you learned something. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great night, morning. Yeah, I'll catch you next time.